I'm really, really, really nervous about this, guys. It was a hard decision to come to because I don't dislike myself. There's only two things that you can do with loose skin. One, accept it. It's gonna be there. Or get it surgically removed.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a completely different video, probably than any other video we'll ever do again, but a lot of people have asked and I want to share because I couldn't find a lot of information about it when I was looking. So I want to talk about the plastic surgery that I had done in May. So back in May, which was about 4.5 months ago at this point, I had major plastic surgery done. When I say major, I mean huge procedures done to remove my loose skin. So if you guys know anything about me or you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I lost 90 pounds between 13 and 14 years ago. Like over the course of a year, maybe a little longer than a year, I lost 90 pounds. I went from 210 pounds to 130 pounds. And what happens when you lose that much weight is you have loose skin. Guys, it happens. It's something not a lot of people talk about with weight loss, but that's what happens when you have major weight loss. So I am the type of person who stores my body fat very, very evenly. And this is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it means when I am bigger, I tend to wear it well, as they say. Even when I'm talking to people from high school now, they don't believe, like, no, you were never that size, but I was. And it's because even at 210 pounds, I had a kind of hourglass shape. Where that is bad is that I don't have loose skin in any one area. I have loose skin everywhere. I have it on my arms, my chest, my stomach, my back, my legs. I have it everywhere, but not in any one spot significantly worse than the other. So I always joke that if someone could just like huck me in the dryer for an hour, I'd be good. If everything could just tighten up a little bit skin-wise, that would be good. And my family in general, we just don't have great skin. Pretty much everybody in my family has some kind of a skin issue. And there's also some Ehlers-Danlos syndrome in my family. And what that is that is a condition where you do not produce enough collagen and connective tissue. So this can show up in all kinds of ways, but one of the most superficial ways that it can show up is your skin is just not as elastic as maybe it ought to be. And there's been lots of speculation from family and friends and even some doctors that I may have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome myself. So I have very loose skin. So it's something that I've never really liked. It's always kind of bothered me, but it bothered me a lot more when I started to get really, really into fitness. And the reason that it bothered me a lot more is because it was hiding so much of my progress. And this was made most apparent at the end of this past contest prep season, when I finally was able to get a DEXA scan. So it's the leanest I've ever been in my life. I was in the low teens, which was still higher than I wanted it to be. I wanted to be 12%. It was in the low teens and I still like didn't have abs, even though I could feel them. And if I pulled the skin, if I literally grabbed my skin and pulled it up, you could see a full 6-pack, almost an 8-pack, but you couldn't tell because there was so much skin over it. And like I said, this happens all over my body. This is in no one particular place. And it made me sad because I knew how hard I was working and that I was achieving these really awesome results. But it was like, I felt like I was literally wearing a skin of who I used to be and that it was preventing me from like seeing who I am now. So I have said for a long time that if I could ever afford to get loose skin removal surgery, which is kind of a misnomer, that I would do it. And now I can, so I did. And what I ended up having done is called an abdominoplasty and a mastopexy, also called a tummy tuck and a breast lift. When I went to the surgeon, they kind of laughed at me, actually, because I went to them right after competition prep. So this is the smallest and leanest I ever have been. And they were like, well, do you want implants? And I was like, no, don't want implants. Not that there's anything wrong with them, I just didn't want them. And they were like, well, okay, like I just wasn't their typical client. And I'll get to kind of that in a minute as well. But essentially what they ended up doing was they removed like a Cheshire cat smile of skin from my stomach and 2 triangle shapes of skin from the underside of my chest and kind of stitched it all up so that all of that is lifted and tighter. It was a huge procedure. It was the first major surgery I've ever had in my life, so it was very scary. And I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about it. I think that there's just not a lot of people in my particular position talking about this sort of stuff. For other people like myself, who were on this like fitness journey or this bodybuilding journey, who were dealing with loose skin that was either making them lose placings or just not making it so they could display the physique that they had worked so hard of, there weren't a ton of us. I found like 2 or 3 other people that had gone through this that had not been pregnant. So an abdominoplasty or a tummy tuck, what it is like I said, they cut you hip to hip and they remove a Cheshire cat smile, like a moon shape of skin, and they stitch it up. Most of the people who get this done are either people who have had massive weight loss like myself, or women who have had a baby, because when you get pregnant, for many women, the stomach area stretches out the most, and sometimes the skin just goes right back to the way it was, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes those women choose to get that removed because it's essentially like they just have this pouch of skin there and they get it removed. Another part of a traditional abdominoplasty is, particularly for women who have been pregnant, but oftentimes for people who are overweight as well, is they go into the abdominal muscles, which may have separated, and they stitch them back together. So if this is your 6-pack, right? You know how there's usually a line in the middle? You get pregnant, for a lot of people it separates. And for a lot of people who are very overweight, sometimes their intra-abdominal fat, their visceral fat can push their abs out and separate it as well. So in a traditional abdominoplasty, they stitch the muscles back together. I deliberately opted out of that. I did not want them to touch my muscles. So I'll hop right to the before and afters. So I can't actually show you guys a true after picture, and I'm sorry for that, but the places that these incisions are not places that I can post on YouTube or want to post on YouTube. I apologize, you're gonna have to take my word for it. But before I had the surgery, I did actually record a video for you guys that I was like, maybe I'm gonna post this, and obviously I didn't. But I did show you guys the loose skin on my stomach. So I can't show you guys real before and after pictures. I will try to show you a little bit of the abdominal scar towards the end of this video. So I asked on Instagram if you guys had questions about it, and you did. But the first question is for before and after pictures. How has this changed your confidence and other surgery plans? I don't have any other surgery plans right now. Like I said, I would really like to see, first of all, how everything 100% heals up. It's only been 4 months. This is gonna take at least a year to be what they consider healed. And then the scar is gonna continue to fade after that. Scars, I should say. But as for my confidence, I do feel like it's boosted my confidence a little bit. My body shifts so much between in season and off season, about 25 pounds. And it was very important for me to get these procedures done in my full off-season condition, because I did not want to have all the skin removed at 125 pounds, knowing that my normal weight is closer to 145 pounds. So I'd get all this skin stitched up and then gain 20 pounds deliberately, and it would just stretch out again. So I wanted to make sure that I was at my most stretched out before I had these procedures done. So we'll see if it ends up making a difference when I'm stage lean or not. We'll see. I don't know yet. I feel like it would have to, but we'll see. You know, if it goes super, super well, I think the other area that actually drives me insane is the amount of loose skin that I have on my arms, which is significant. There's a possibility that I might get that loose skin removed as well. But I did not want to do all of that at once. I think as it was, I had a lot done at once, and it would have been scary to have more of that done. What was my recovery time before I wasn't in pain? So I actually have a really high pain tolerance. Of course, I was terrified going into this of the pain, because if you search on YouTube, you find people who are like, oh, it was a breeze, and then you find videos of people literally crying into the camera about how much pain they're in, and I was terrified of being that person. It was not painful, but it wasn't as painful as I expected it to be based on other people that I had researched. I took my painkillers religiously, like set timers to take them for, I want to say like the first 3 or 4 days. And then after that, slowed it down, and I was completely off of painkillers by the end of the first week. I recovered incredibly fast. They let me drive home on day 3 post-op, and they said they never do that. So I had the surgery on a Tuesday, and then 4 days later, literally 4 days later, I was back in Massachusetts in the delivery room while my sister delivered her baby. So I think I recovered super fast. And I honestly believe that my recovery was so fast because, one, I'm fit, like I'm active all the time. I eat a ton of plants, and I'm vegan, and I really think that that played a huge role in my fast recovery. 3, I ate a lot. I understand that when most people are going to get bodily plastic surgery done, you know, they're usually pretty diet conscious, you know? But I also know what it requires for a body to heal, and to try to be in a caloric deficit while that's happening would only slow down a healing process. So they kept saying like, don't be afraid to eat, don't be afraid to eat. And I was like, on the day of surgery, I was like, I could get in 2,000 calories today if I wanted to. Like, I'm not afraid to eat. They told me to eat a lot of protein. Duh, I already do that anyway. So I think all of those things really added up to me recovering very, very quickly. So the scars, just to give you an idea, they were hip to hip. And I had to have a drain, which is a giant tube that goes into a bulb coming out of my hip. That had to stay in there for about 20 days, just releasing fluid into it. It's really, really gross. That is the worst part about surgery, my friend, is that goddamn drain. And I'm lucky that I only had 1, because some people have as many as 4. So I'm really happy I only had the 1, but it was awful. But I had that drain on, and I had probably like 6 inches of incisions on each chest, and then like a 14-inch incision across my stomach, and I went to Whole Foods the next day. I had a walker, I had rented a recliner, and I ended up not even needing to use a walker or a cane at all. And I think a large part of that was also that I did not let them touch my muscles. Any surgery, if they have to mess with your muscles, it's gonna take you a lot longer to recover. This was all just skin, so that was helpful as well. How did I choose my doctor? I did a lot of research. I was looking for somebody who was at least board certified, a board certified plastic surgeon, and I found somebody who was double board certified, and I looked at their portfolios, and what I was looking for was somebody who looked like me in the starting picture. And I wanted to see the after picture, people who had similar procedures done, and it was very hard. I wasn't seeing a lot of people who looked like me in the starting pictures, or the people who did look like me in the starting pictures were getting breast implants. They weren't having skin removed or anything like that. So it was hard to find somebody, but I did find somebody. It was Dr. Oser. He is at the Skin Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's who I went with. Where on your body was it removed, and is it all gone, or is some left over? Like I said, they removed a significant amount of skin from my chest, which I should mention, my whole life I have always had kind of a droopy situation going on here. Even when I was 16 years old, I was 200 pounds. They were much larger, but they still were very pendulous. And then after I lost 90 pounds, it was just like empty sacks of crepe paper that hung way, way down, which is why they wanted so badly to put implants in me as well. But I just didn't want that to happen. But once they hiked everything up, everything did appear to look a bit bigger than it had before, which I wasn't expecting. And that has also taken a lot of getting used to as well. I feel like I'm going through puberty, to be honest. My mom had to take me bra shopping. It was super embarrassing. She was like, what size are you? I was like, I don't know anymore. She was like, I'm gonna go get help. And I was like, Mom, don't do that to me. Please don't go ask somebody. So I really did feel like a 14-year-old girl. Did they get all of the loose skin? Absolutely not. They got all of the loose skin in those areas. But like I said, I have loose skin in places that they couldn't even fix if they wanted to. I have loose skin on my shins, guys. No, they didn't get all of it, but it's okay. This was a little bit of an experiment to see if it was something that was totally worth it to me or not. I think it has been. I suspected that the abdominal surgery would be the big life changer, and it's not. Of course not. I shouldn't say I expected it to be a big life changer, but I thought it would instantly make my physique look different. And guess what? Not so much. The only person who can see at a glance that it looks very different is me, and probably Giacomo. Other than that, most people didn't even know that I got anything done. whatsoever. And that's fine because it wasn't for them in the first place. I wasn't trying to get people to notice me differently when I walk down the street. It was for me. And for me, I feel like it looks very different, and I think it's gonna continue to look better and better over time. It's just taken a little bit of getting used to, and it's an emotional process, guys. How was I able to train so quickly after that? Well, I started doing whatever I could do as quickly as I could. So mostly this was just walking. Within a week, I was hitting 5,000 steps every single day. Some days more than that, actually. And that's with the drain in. Like, I was still walking a couple miles every single day. And then as soon as I could get to the gym, I started with like the easiest, lightest stuff that I could do. So like side lateral raises, or like seated calf raises, or bicep curls. And then I would just test some things out, maybe do a lat pull down with really, really light weight. Right afterwards, I could still get my hands over my head, which a lot of people who have surgery on their chest cannot do. I attribute this to all of the loose skin that I still have here. Even though this area was very tight, this was still able to move. And that is one thing I noticed. Now that everything here to here is just tighter, it almost feels a little bit uncomfortable to me. Like the difference between wearing like spandex and sweatpants. Like, I feel like my whole life I've been wearing a sweatpants suit, and now I have a spandex suit from like here to here. And it's just a strange feeling to me, and I'm not totally used to it yet, to be honest. Someone said, if you ever decided to have kids, would your skin go back to loose? Yes, it would, but that's not an issue for me because I'm not going to have kids. But if that was in the cards for me, that totally would have been something to take into consideration. Like, I would not have had anything like this done until after all of my childbearing years were through. But that is not the situation that I am in. Someone said, yes, after having lost 45 kilograms, I still have some, but the surgeon told me the scar would be uglier than the skin. So basically this question is like, is the scar worth it? For me, yes. For other people, absolutely not. The abdominal scar is huge. It's huge and it's pretty gnarly, guys. It's not like a fine little scar right now. It's a pretty intense scar. But for me, the scar doesn't matter as much if I can see my hard work. For somebody else who maybe had like a moderate amount of loose skin, which is what I have, there's plenty of people who have way more than I do. For other people, it absolutely would not be worth the scar, the pain, the cost, but for me it was. The chest scars, so to give you an idea, they did what they call a lollipop lift, so I have a circular scar on each boob, which I'm sure you can imagine where those are, and then a straight line down. And the straight line down is fading very, very quickly. The circular part just blends right in, if you know what I mean. But the one across my stomach is like, it's like someone took a red Sharpie to me still, all the way across. But it's also so low that I can't show you guys. So no one's gonna see it except for me and my husband, who does not care and has been nothing but obscenely supportive through this whole thing. Recovery pain, was it worth it? So this was the biggest question, and I got this question probably about a half a dozen times. Was it worth it? Would I do it again? Yes. To me, it was worth it, and I would do it again. I really expected the one to have the most impact on my psyche to be my abdominal area, because I've really never ever once cared much about this chest situation. Like I said, who sees it? Me and my husband. But I was surprised how much of a difference in my confidence that did actually make, because since my teen years, I've had sort of the chest of a much, much older woman. And if I can find a picture that is appropriate to include here, to give you guys an idea, I will. If I can't, then I won't. But yeah, that has made a bigger impact, I think, than actually the stomach surgery, which was the big one. We will see what it looks like towards the end of competition prep. Of course, as you get leaner, you get loose skin. That's just how it goes. So whatever level of tightness to the skin I have now, I know it will get looser at the end of contest prep, but I still think it will be miles from where it was before. And I'm really curious to see what that looks like. But even right now in the off season, full off season, I weigh almost 150 pounds right now. I'm still very comfortable to like train at the gym in a sports bra without my shirt on, because my midriff skin no longer sort of hangs over my pant line, which was always something that just made me physically uncomfortable. It's just physically uncomfortable, and anybody out there who has significant amounts of loose skin knows what I'm talking about. It's not even so much about what it looks like sometimes as how it feels physically. So was it worth it? Would I do it again? Yes, I would, but it's not a decision to be taken lightly at all. Of course, if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer, because like I said, this was not easy information for me to find for somebody in my position. And yeah, I'm hoping that this video can help anybody else who like is thinking about it or considering it. And I don't think that changing something cosmetically about your body is a bad thing. I think you have every right to do with your body what you want to do, and I support everybody's decision to do whatever they want with their body, really. So I think that's all I have for talking right now. I'm gonna film a little bit of the after situation as much as I can post on the internet here for you guys, and let me know if you guys have any questions. All right, guys, so here is pretty much all I'm going to be able to show you of the after situation. Everything is much higher. I can't take it off and show it to you, but you gotta believe me, okay? So I will try to show you some of the scar here. So it comes down to that side and to that side. It is literally right on the pubic line. So they ended up removing about 2 pounds of skin. This is completely relaxed. I'm 5'7", about 148 pounds right now. So you guys saw me pulling my skin out in the before video. So yes, obviously I still have body fat. This is my off-season weight, but this is me trying to pull it away from my skin now. So up here, they didn't remove anything. I should also mention that for a lot of people, they build a new belly button. They did not do that with me. They just snipped behind it, pulled it down. So up here, yes, there's still skin because they didn't touch this area. And then as I move to my back, you can see it's exactly the same as it was before because they didn't do anything there. It's literally just this. They pulled it down, and yeah. So that is the difference right there, guys. So I'm hoping when I do get leaner again that it's gonna make a big difference. I really hope this was helpful to you guys. I promise this will be the only plastic surgery video I will ever make, but many of you requested it. I just hope it helps somebody out there. All right, this was a hard one for me. Please be kind in the comments. I will talk to you soon.